Tarik Skubal is scheduled to pitch the last day of the regular season, this Sunday against Boston. I don't know if I want him out there. And this is coming from the person who has been very adamant about prioritizing winning the division before anything. But if you have clinched a wild card spot already at that point, which you could clinch it as soon as today with a win and a Houston loss, or you could clinch it with just 2 wins, if you are in a position to where you can take the division, but you've already clinched a playoff spot, I don't think you can pitch him. I think you have to just wait this out and hope you win the game, and maybe your division spot's still on the line if the Guardians end up not winning their game on Sunday too. But I think you got to prioritize having Skubal healthy for a game 1. Now, with that being said, if you haven't even clinched a playoff spot yet, let's say Houston is off to a nice start for their series this weekend against the Angels. They get 2 wins. The Tigers all of a sudden are staring at a tie in the standings going into Sunday, which means you win and you're in. Okay, then Tarik Skubal has to pitch. This is going to be very fascinating to see how they handle this the next 2 days. And what happens with Cleveland and what happens with Houston. Those are the 2 kind of teams to watch here. Boston being the other one, but obviously you're going to Boston. If you take care of Boston and take 2 of 3 from them, you can actually jump them in the standings. But I am fascinated to see how this plays out, whether or not Tarik Skubal is going to pitch again this regular season.
It's hard to judge because it's not like these Tarik Skubal starts have been auto wins like they used to be this season. So that's what makes it hard to really tell, because you can easily sit here and be like, well, the Tigers can win a game with Tarik Skubal not pitching like they did last night, and they can lose a game with Tarik Skubal pitching like they've done the last 2 outings. So that's what makes it difficult. I think if you're in a scenario where going into Sunday, you have clinched the playoffs, like let's say you take one of the first 2 with the Red Sox, Houston loses one of them, boom, you've at least clinched a playoff spot, and you are in a spot to either take the 5 seed from Boston in that split because you own the tiebreaker. If you take 2 of 3 with Boston this week, you get the 5 over them if you don't win the division. Or B, to win the division on Sunday. Like if this can help you not play Cleveland round 1, you start Tarik Skubal. I'm all for the aggressive mindset. Anything you can do to avoid being the 6 seed to play Cleveland, whether that means winning the division or getting the 5 seed in the American League, I think you have to go for it, because we've just seen how much this team struggles with Cleveland, and you don't have to word it that way because you're still just improving your overall playoff odds anyways by getting a higher seed. But anything you can do to not play those guys, I think you have to do it, and that's, of course, obviously helping your chances with starting Tarik Skubal.
Isn't there a scenario, too, where they just end up the 3 seed and play Cleveland as the wild, and Cleveland's the wild card?
Yes, that is also a scenario.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in the sense of I just don't want to play Cleveland. I don't know if you should be, running from an opponent the way that we're talking about right now, but let's just face it. I don't want to play a team.
Why should you? Yeah.
I don't want to play a team that has totally had the Tigers' number. They are 8-5 versus Cleveland this season, and it feels a lot worse than that for some reason. Maybe because the losses have been so devastating, because they've had a lead in so many of them and just can't hold it. Other team comes storming back. Yeah, I don't want to play Cleveland. I want to prioritize winning the division, but if you've got a chance, if you've already clinched a playoff spot, and let's say Cleveland does start to run away with this, and it's a little bit out of your control. How about this hypothetical? They go into Sunday, they've clinched a playoff spot. You have to win, and Cleveland has to lose in order to win the division. I would say that's not worth it. Just stash Tarik Skubal. Stash him.
Yeah, it's probably not worth it. I'm double checking. Yeah, I mean, Tuesday would be the first playoff game. So you get one, just because obviously the whole point of resting Tarik Skubal is to save him for the start of the playoffs. So let's say you do pitch him, it doesn't work out, all of a sudden he can't pitch Tuesday. You're probably not pitching him Wednesday because he's only on 2 days of rest. He can't really pitch until the 3rd game of the series.
And let's not forget the last outing he had, he was on 4 days rest.
You can lose the series before he even gets a chance to pitch, in a best of 3.
And he's already off of 4 days rest from his last outing. So I would be down to give him the extra days. If they're still fighting for their playoff hopes, yes.
Of course.
You have to just pitch Tarik Skubal and not think about the playoffs. You got to get into the playoffs first, and Tarik Skubal is obviously your number one way to do that. But if they have clinched a playoff spot, I almost don't know if there's anything that would make me say we have to pitch Tarik Skubal on Sunday. And that's coming from the person who has prioritized winning the division. And I think that is important. But at this point, I've just considered the division a loss already. You know, when you go on that historic of a collapse. No,
I mean, they're tied right now.
I know. But when you go on that historic of a collapse, I don't know if you can prioritize winning the division anymore. Like, you have to just focus on how do we get further into the playoffs. And that would be Tarik Skubal pitching game 1 of a series, regardless of if it's against Cleveland or if it's against Boston or if it's against whoever it's against. You have to just have Tarik Skubal on the mound game 1. And you'll know right away, like, if you lose the Tarik Skubal start, you're probably not winning the series, right? So get him out there right away and give yourself, hopefully, a leg up in the standings or a leg up in the series.
You're right, and I think like it does make a really good point, because what's the point of pitching Skubal to win the division just to potentially lose it on Sunday and then not have him for the wild card series? Like, at the end of the day, the playoffs is what's most important, and if you are clinched going into Sunday, even though there's a good chance that if you are clinched by Sunday, that means you probably still have a shot at the division, because that means you've been winning one of the 2 games before that, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, they could be in first place in the division today for all we know. What if they're holding a division lead? Do you think it's important enough to pitch Tarik
to keep
Skubal?
it? Like, if you're up a game in the division going into Sunday,
yeah,
and if you lose it and Cleveland wins and then the tie, they win it. Ooh, that's really tough, man. I think you have to take the risk and rest him in that scenario just to keep him. Like, you've already clinched your spot in the playoffs. You need him to pitch in the wild card series. It would be detrimental to lose the first 2 games of the wild card without even giving the back-to-back Cy Young winner a chance to pitch, right?
Yeah, I don't think he can pitch again this regular season,
and AJ
unless
Hinch,
the playoffs are on the line.
And look, this is one of those things that I know that some Tigers fans have had their flack with AJ Hinch over the last couple weeks just because of the losing streak. This is one of those things that we really have to trust him with, right? He makes these operational decisions time and time again that, for the most part, they work out more than they don't. And this one is going to be ultra important. I'm interested to see how he handles it. I assume this is going to be something he gets asked at some point this weekend, especially following a win either tonight or tomorrow. Now, if they lose tonight and tomorrow, there's no doubt about it. You have to start Tarik Skubal Sunday. But I'm very interested to see how Hinch handles this.
989-837-6125. How would you handle this Tarik Skubal situation? He's scheduled to start on Sunday. I'm saying unless they are in his position to where they have not clinched a playoff spot yet and they have to win on Sunday. Anything short of that, I am resting him and letting him start game 1 of a playoff series. 989-837-6125.